welcome to South of Normal with your host, Michael Soren, me. This episode we're going to cover Marvel's Shang Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. Initial reaction is from beat one to fade out. I was hooked. I was intrigued what's going on, and I didn't really lose my attention. I did stop the timer on my phone around the 45-minute mark, not because I was bored, but because I thought I missed something, so I had to pause. I watched it at home. I didn't watch it in the theater, so I had to pause it for a second and just be like, wait, I'm a little confused. I want to look something up real quick. Hate doing that. Shouldn't do that. Sorry, folks, but that's the reason I stopped my little timer on my game. Now, I was worried because Shang-Chi to me felt like an offshoot side character, and growing up, for the most part, with action, like the early days of superhero movies, side shoot characters who aren't widely known got treated so shittily. You know, where you get this character who not many people really know. They know they're going to make money on the movie, so they're like, here, we made this movie about Joe Blow. Come watch it. And you get 99% action, fighting, visual effects, nothing else, and 1% of a story no one gives a shit about. That's what I was afraid was going to happen. I need to start trusting Marvel. I need to just ease back, know that they're going to do a good job with the story and the visual effects blend. I need to get over my prejudice of the visual effects not being storytelling. It's something that's hard for me to get by, but I got to put it aside when watching these superhero movies, I guess, because that's what they are. The fight sequences felt fresher, like a little breath of life into the Marvel franchise. It had that Bruce Lee fight style, the kung fu movies from the 70s going for it, and it just felt different than the basically boxing UFC style fighting you get in every other Marvel movie. The film opens up with the story of Wenwu getting the rings 1,000 years ago, ruling over everything, and then deciding to put the rings down when he falls in love. I should have wrote it down. Don't have it in my notes. Could look it up. I forget the mother's name. I'm sure drop it in the comments and correct me and call me an idiot. That's fine.
You're an idiot.
I accept that I am one in this case. But Shang-Chi, going by Sean, in San Francisco, living his best life as a valet with his best friend Katie. They are on their way to work when all of a sudden this random Bulgarian, Russian, Eastern European dude sees this pendant on his neck and was like, we're gonna fight. And that's what happens. They get into this huge fight on this twin bus, and it's kind of the movie turned into Speed all of a sudden. Like, what the hell, man? This is the second iteration of where I'm watching a movie and this feels like it's turned into Speed. First was the preview for Ambulance, which shouldn't be mentioning that in this because that's just going to be terrible. Well, this is good. Then this one where they're in the bus driving crazily, can't slow down, the brakes have been cut. What the hell's going on? This fight sequence did drag. It did feel like they were gonna play into my fear of this being no story, all fighting, all action, all whatever. So this was poorly done in my opinion. This fight sequence for time lengthwise, it was a great fight sequence. But it just went on a little too long. They could have ended it much sooner. Sean has to reveal his past to Katie, and she's all butthurt, but she wants to help him on this quest to go find his sister. Sean knows deep down that it's his sister who's trying to get a hold of him, and she sent him this postcard. Newsflash, sister's a MacGuffin. Yeah, I felt bad that Xialing was even in the movie, because she gets treated so poorly. In her storyline for the broken family as the daughter, she's outcast, forgotten about, does her own thing for years and years, abandoned by her father, abandoned by her brother, mother's gone. Just felt bad for her as a character, and then just like she was just a MacGuffin. That's all she was in this movie. And I was just like, she was the badass of the family, to be honest. Like, Shang-Chi is great, and he's the title character. He's going to go on and have many more films. Xialing is probably going to have another film. They hinted at it in the end credit sequence, but just the way she was written into the story is just like, we need a reason to have her here. There's 7 other brothers and sisters within this family that are just not even in the movie, but they took one and put her in and then basically did nothing. So that was a little like, okay, yeah, she's cool. I want more of her. Where'd she go? Like, why is she doing nothing? Yeah, we're brought into this world of this broken family. Wenwu, the opening character with the 10 rings, Shang-Chi's dad, he loses his wife and kind of takes it out on Shang-Chi because he was there and didn't stop the killing, of which I think he was what, 12 or 13, like going against the whole gang. I mean, Wenwu's losing his grip on this power he used to have because he put down the rings for love. All the fight scenes are choreographed excellently. Especially the bus one was long, and then they have another one in, I forget where they go, either it's China or South Korea, one of the two. They go to, and they have this underground battle fight octagon place where everyone can wager on these people fighting in rooms and cages that Xialing runs, and they have this battle on the outside of this rundown building, and it was new, it was different feeling, the fight sequence. I mean, Rush Hour kind of did the same thing, so I can't say it's too new because they had Jackie Chan in the bamboo scaffolding fighting and using the scaffolding to ward off, so it's not 100% new, but it was new for Marvel. I liked it, I enjoyed it. Yeah, again, it played into my the heavy fight sequences really close together, played into my fear that I'm about to watch 120 minutes of no story, all visual effects. But I persevered, I pressed on, folks, and you should do the same because it was well worth it. Tony Leung was cast as the patriarch Wenwu, and he's the powerhouse of this movie, in my opinion. His performance, his presence is felt when he's not even there. You just know, like, he's watching. Wenwu's coming, and he nailed it. Perfect. I think anyone else might have ruined the role. You have Leo Lu. He plays Shang-Chi. I believe the joke is he tweeted to Marvel, like, when are we going to get an Asian superhero? And then they're like, hey, here you go. He was good as Shang-Chi. He was good in the role of the reluctant superhero, if you will, and that's what he is, because he tried to escape the killer life, and then the rings chose him, and then Wong chooses him to join the next iteration of whatever the Avengers are just assembling based on the end credit scene. But his priorities are to not do that. His priorities are to have fun, live his life, and indicated by the drunken karaoke with Wong and Katie. Now, Katie is played by Awkwafina. She was completely made up for this movie. She wasn't in the comics at all, and that's a hell of a lot of pressure to put on someone. You know, you got this franchise you're trying to establish. You got this base that is hungry and will call you out if you do something wrong, and they make someone up. And Awkwafina delivers. I did find her character a little annoying, but she mainly served as the comic relief. I'm still just disappointed that Xialing was just a MacGuffin, just not really used other than to catalyst the story. And then, yeah, she rides the dragon in the end, but it was upsetting because she was the badass of the family, not Shang-Chi. She was the one you were afraid of. She was the one who would F you up. I wanted to see more of her character. Unfortunately, maybe it has to do with the way comic books were back in the early stages where, yeah, they got She-Hulk and Lady Thor coming out. I mean, be a Batgirl from the DC side of things. It's the first one that comes to mind. They just didn't really give female superheroes good names and respect from that standpoint. I'm sure in the comics they're badasses. I vaguely remember reading a She-Hulk comic. I vaguely do, but not too much. They use water in this film quite beautifully. The initial one I remember is when Wenwu gets the 2 pendants and puts them in the dragon's eyes, and this map appears out of nowhere. Instead of the generic hologram Tony Stark-esque map popping up out of the ground, this water icicle type maze thing pops up and beautifully shot. Kind of plays into Hollywood's trope that the Chinese or Asian countries are more connected with nature and beauty that way than the cold, hard technology and industrial revolution as we are over here, which may be true, like I said, but it's very played up in Hollywood movies. And they do it again here, where everything's mythical and mysterious. So, but it is beautifully shot in CGI and done, and it's a nice touch instead of having the computer-generated everything like Marvel usually does. I like that. Same with the final dragon. When you first see Shang-Chi floating, sinking in the water, then the bubbles swarm around him, and then the dragon appears. Like that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that, and again, the use of water to get this across is. It's always interesting what filmmakers choose, and I liked what they chose here. The water was beautifully done and added a layer of depth to the film that I didn't know I needed. Overall, enjoyed Shang-Chi, enjoyed the story they told, because it was about a broken family, more so than this rise of this amazing superhero. It was about Shang-Chi accepting his fate as the holder of the 10 rings, because Wenwu, his dad, had him forever. He's gone cuckoo bananas trying to bring back his dead wife, to the point where he's hearing demons summoning them to destroy her village where she came from, only to find out like they aren't hiding her, they just didn't want him there because he's cuckoo bananas and power hungry. Kind of the typical villain-esque point of view in any movie, is the villain is power hungry and I'm going to destroy it if I can't have it. And again, fight sequences felt like a breath of fresh air in this Marvel assembly line we are witnessing. They're getting close, in my opinion, to crossing this bridge, going over the edge and becoming a caricature of themselves, to the point where we're gonna need a break. They're gonna start bombing. I see Star Wars most recently. Disney ratcheted up the wreaths of Solo, and everyone was pissed and boycotted it in a sense. Movie was good. I enjoyed it, but it was just so quick turnaround that it was just like, we know what you're doing, Disney, and we're not buying it. Well, I bought it. A lot of people did buy it, but not as many as Disney hoped. Yeah, go stream it on Disney Plus now. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings is worth your time. It was a gamble for them to release it in theaters and streaming at the same time. I feel it did hurt its overall box office numbers. I don't know how they're going to factor in the streaming stuff. I don't think they'll ever release that to the world, because they probably could come up with a formula to show box office projected based on number of streams and give you a better sense of how it would have done had it been straight released. I'll have to check out boxofficemojo.com to see if they do that type of thing. Boxofficemojo.com, free plug. I love going there and just perusing and seeing what made money, how much it made, what #1 movie of all time, what the worst. It's just, there's so much cool stuff for movie geeks like me there. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, worth your time, worth the investment. Not the greatest Marvel movie ever made, but it is up there with a refreshing take back away from the steadfast characters that everyone knows into the unknown with Shang-Chi there. So you'll enjoy it. Check it out on Disney Plus, or if you feel like buying the hard physical media, get the Blu-ray, get the DVD if you want. I'm a fan of owning my media. I don't do it as much as I'd like, but I'd like to have that physical hard copy. Just something about it makes makes me feel a little better about having it, knowing that I can watch it whenever, even though I can with Disney Plus at the time. Whatever. Different story, different time. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, worth your time. Great film. Some heavy fight sequences drag on. A lot of visual effects kind of tend to drag on here and there. That's the nature of the game with these types of movies. You're going to enjoy this, though. The story of the broken family is at the center of it, and it tells a great story to boot. So go see this. Check it out. I've been your host, Michael Soren. This is South of Normal. Thank you for watching.